It's the best Kiwi event in New Zealand, this.
Crossing New Zealand in 1 or 2 days.
Why do I do it? Because I love it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Welcome to the Kathmandu Coast to Coast podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to helping you get from the west coast of the South Island all the way across to the east coast by running, biking and kayaking across some of New Zealand's most famous routes. This podcast is brought to you by Team CP, your endurance coaching specialist. I'm your host, Angus Petrie, and as always, it is a pleasure to welcome back my teammate, Mr. Team CP himself, Richard Greer. Rich, welcome back to another Kathmandu podcast.
Yeah, what a good intro, and thanks for having us, Angus.
Excellent. What a show we've got lined up tonight. We've got another great episode ahead of us, Rich. We are getting closer to those crucial training months, I suppose, aren't we?
Yeah, with daylight savings come on board, that makes definitely a difference, doesn't it, to be able to get out a bit later and sort of longer after work and before work even as well. And also, the opportunity to maybe get a bit more paddling done or hopefully trying to bring all three disciplines together a bit more now that springtime's well and truly here.
Yep, I certainly see a bit of chatter over Facebook and a few posts and things like people getting back in their boats, a lot more talk about trying to share shuttles up and down the river and things.
Right. Yes, yeah, no, that's right, and just adventures to be had, isn't there? When the sun's shining. Obviously, a fair bit of hairy weather happening recently as well. So that's always hey, be safe out there. But it's always good to get out and about.
Yeah, totally, and great to see the coast to coast community all starting to reach out to each other, and that's what it's all about. That whole community thing. Rich, give us a rundown. What do we got on tonight?
Yeah, so starting from last to first, we're going to catch up with Matt Bateman and his progress and catch up with his teammate Tomo as well, see how they're going. We're going to catch up with the race director, Glen Currie, shortly as well. We're going to check in how this whole COVID situation, how the planning's going for race day, and how he's doing with all that. But we're going to kick off with Anna Mcnuff. So Anna is an adventurer through and through. She's just learning a little bit more about Anna. She's a bit of a crazy lady. She's done lots of amazing stuff, and I'm very jealous. But she's cycled the length of the Andes in South America, climbing over 100,000 vertical meters, Angus, during that time. How good is that?
I know.
She's cycled 18,000 Ks through North America, and while riding through every state while doing so. She's also run completely unsupported the length of New Zealand Araroa Trail as well, carrying her backpack on her back as just stuff that she's done. So with that background, Anna lined up the Tandem Team in 2009 with Holly Woodhouse, who's one of our people that we've had on this show before. And they went off and did the Coast to Coast Tandem. So really keen to find out, after all that background, how Anna found it, what she learned, and how she compares the Kathmandu Coast to Coast to some of the awesome adventures challenges that she's done in the past.
Yeah, and great. You know, when you look at her resume of adventures that she's been on, pretty cool to have Kathmandu Coast to Coast as one of those adventures and one of those ones that she's still very fond of.
100%, isn't that good? That's I guess that's a tribute to the race and what it is and the community that it brings and the adventure that it is as well.
And I must say also, Rich, it's 8:15 here. We've gone live at 8:15 p.m. here, but it's actually 8:15 a.m. where Anna is.
Yeah, so that's good commitment, isn't it? Obviously shows that she is committed to the cause.
She is. Shall we bring her on and meet Anna?
Hello,
Anna. How are you?
Good evening. Double jazz hands.
Double jazz hands. We can all do that.
Good evening. Good morning. I've got tea on the go. It's all good. Everything's all right when you've got a cup of tea.
Yeah. Good stuff, Anna. How are you? What have you been up to? What's happening in your world in the UK right now?
Oh, we're in a bit of a pickle. It's just all a bit bonkers. I've been watching in awe. You seem to be doing it right over that side of the world, and you seem to have been handling COVID. We're doing all right. We're going through the waves. It's just like the never-ending story. So it's a bit like adventure has come to the normal person's door, and we're having to cope with uncertainty. But we're making the most of it. So, and it's a beautiful country over here to explore. So we're doing what I can to get to know my backyard a bit better.
Yes, good. And a whole lot of people just recently exploring the London Marathon as well, doing their own London Marathon, I see, which is something that you've done quite a bit in the past as well, and cheering a whole bunch of people on.
Yeah, I did it last year with no shoes on, which sounds fantastic. Just, you know, I look back and think, what the hell was I on? But yeah, it was amazing. 45,000 people took to the streets and battled their personal demons virtually, which I just thought was amazing.
And how many others had no shoes on? Just the one crazy lady.
Do you know what? I was the only one. I mean, I passed a toilet. There was someone dressed as Mickey Mouse. So, but yeah, no other barefoot people. I think there were 2 more in the race, but I didn't see them.
That's so good. Anna, tell us a bit about your background, your upbringing, because obviously that had a fair bit to go in terms of what you got to be today. And what made you lead into that lifestyle that you sort of end up doing all these crazy, awesome things?
Yeah, I mean, as the kids would say, my parents are a bit extra, like they're a bit out there. So they went to the Olympics in 1980 for rowing. So I have got the background of having 2 Olympian parents, which is a bit unusual. So I grew up doing every single sport under the sun, loads of, football, trampolining, judo. So it's weird because I grew up with an elite sports background, and then I played a lot of football, and I ended up rowing for Great Britain when I was in my 20s. But I didn't actually enjoy adventure and the great outdoors probably until I was in my late 20s, which is just crazy. I remember my parents used to take me for walks when I was 15, and it was all just like, Mom, this is so boring. Why do I want to look at trees? And now I'm like, I love trees. Look at them. They're amazing. So I'll be dragging my children on those adventures. So it was probably my late 20s when I took off from I was working a corporate job, and I went to ride this pink bike through every state of America for 20,000 Ks. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? Like, that is it. I love adventure. I love seeing the world. I love smashing my bodies to bits in the process. And that's when my adventure life started, late 20s.
Brilliant. So that bodes well for me when I drag my kids out to do these crazy adventures. Like, oh God, Dad, what are you doing? Do we have to do this?
Keep doing it. Yeah, it's not abuse. It's good for them.
It's not abuse. Honest, it's not. That's so good. How did you come across the Coast to Coast, and how did you get involved in it?
Oh, when I ran the Araroa Trail back in 2015, it's so weird because you don't hear much about it until you're in New Zealand, and then it's all everyone would mention when I was on the trail. Or I bumped into there was someone training for it, and I just bumped into him in the middle of the bush, and I said, "What are you doing out here?" And then I got chatting with him, and the more I went along the trail, the more I talked about it, and I bumped into like Mal Law, like a trail running legend. Yes. So it kind of crept into my consciousness, and I just thought, that sounds really cool. I was running south to north. Okay. But the idea of something going across, I just thought, that's really interesting. Yeah, so it was in the back of my mind.
And south to north, that's obviously the hardest way, isn't it? Surely going up.
Is it?
Going
north. Yeah, definitely.
Surely.
Yeah, no, do you know what? It was just I started too late, and apparently you have things called mountains and snow. So I was like, right, I better get going the other way and get out of mountains.
And I'll run it to get it done faster. I like it. I don't have time for this. But also that Araroa Trail heads across the Goat Pass, doesn't it? You would have gone up the Minga and down the Deception.
Yeah, and I absolutely had the worst day of my whole run on that, right? So I had unfinished business with the Deception because I mashed up my ankle. I mean, I came out there, I rolled my ankle, it like swelled up like a balloon. So I had unfinished business with that section of trail, which was great to go back and do coast to coast, do it in the opposite direction, and not mash up my ankle. So it was good.
Good. Yeah. No, and as so training across here, you do see a whole bunch of people that are doing the Araroa Trail, big tramping packs, and you're sort of racing past them in a day kind of thing. So yeah, that's awesome. And how does it compare, now reflecting back on it, the coast to coast, to all these different adventures that you've had in the past?
Well, I'm a slow-moving creature, contrary to a lot of belief, right? All I seem to do is I'm like, the tortoise and the hare. I am absolutely the tortoise. Like, I will keep going, like, just day after day after day after day. Yeah, but my turn of speed leaves a little bit to be desired. So, of course, you go from going, right, you got 6 months or, whatever to do an adventure, run a trail, do a bike ride. Yes. And then you go into, right, you got a couple of days in the tandem event I did. And it's just a bit of a shock to the system. So it's a different kind of fitness and a different kind of mentality. And it's awesome in one sense because it's so short and you want to grasp onto it and you haven't got long to settle into it. But that's why the training becomes the fun part, because all of that lead up, it's like the juicy, the starters before you get into the main meal. So yeah, completely different ball game to what I normally do, way out my comfort zone, which I was so grateful to have Holly Woodhouse with me, showing me what on earth I was doing. But yeah, completely different to what I was used to, which is why it was so fun.
100%, because it's a sprint race, isn't it? Effectively.
Apparently, not if you'd watched me on the mountain run, but yeah, apparently it's a sprint.
But relative to what you're used to, it's a sprint race, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's cool. And you can feel that in the energy when you start. You're like, ah! Calm down.
Yeah. Just calm down. What was your highlight of the event, looking back on it?
Oh my God, the kayak section was just amazing. You know, I grew up in London and I spent a lot of time on the river rowing, but on a flat, you know, the Thames River. So to be on moving water, and the river was pretty low the year we did it. So there was quite a lot going on, a lot of rapids. And it was just exhilarating, and you know, thinking, oh my God, is this going to be the corner when I fall out or not? And it was just, I loved it all. It was brilliant.
Good. And was Holly steering or you steering?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was absolutely steering, and I think that yeah, definitely, which helped a lot that she'd done the course a fair few times, and we did a couple practice runs down the river as well, so that really helped, and that really changed the game. But yeah, just brilliant day for it. It was like so hot, sun was shining, blue waters, amazing cliffs. Yeah, it was wicked.
Yeah, brilliant. And I always like to ask, what would you do differently, or what was the tougher part of the event? What was when you were not in a very happy place? When was Anna not really enjoying herself too much?
Well, yeah, Richard, I went in the pain cave early on and shut the door because we'd done so meticulous planning, and Holly was so good in this as well, and helping like where you need your food and all of that, and the kit. But what had been left up to me was, of course, packing like a bit of food for the bike section. And we weren't used to,
one job, Anna.
Yeah, one freaking job. One job.
Yeah.
And we were so we hadn't cycled much together, so I wasn't quite sure about the pace. And basically we went hard on that first bike section, and I ruined myself. And I went to reach to like get some food out my back pocket and realised I'd forgotten my food. So I came off the first bike literally at like 0, about to start the mountain run, like wobbling around like a crazy person. And then so then it was just like starting the mountain run, trying to get back all the energy I'd lost. And I was in the pain cave. But
did you not ask? Surely Holly would have had something to give you.
Well,
or you surely the other competitor stealing something.
No. Well, the thing is, I was so embarrassed, and of course, you also just go, oh, "I'll be all right. I'll be fine." And it wasn't until I got off the bike and Holly looked back at me and she said to the support team, she was like, "Mcnuff needs food," and my dad cramming a banana, feed the beast. Yeah, so that was painful, but I still loved the mountain run. Like, you know, it took me a few sort of until I got to Arthur's Pass, the Goat Pass. Took me to kind of come back round. But once I was back round down the other side, I felt amazing. And then, of course, the second day, I just felt like I was flying high because I actually had energy in my system. So don't do what I did, kids. Pack your food.
Pack your own food. Actually, pack something. Eat something as well.
Actually do something.
And maybe ask for help if you if you need it. That's brilliant. You come from overseas to do this event, and logistics can be a bit of a challenge doing it from overseas. All the gear and bikes and kayaks and all that sort of stuff. How did you find it to compete?
Yeah, I definitely had a leg up that Holly had a kind of in with, you know, local guides to take us down the river and help sort out a lot of logistics of getting ready for race day. So that definitely helped. And I luckily, because I basically run my own business, so I could come out early and spend some time in New Zealand and get on the course, and that really helped. But I would just say, it's just about finding the terrain. You know, we've got it over here in the UK and you'll have it. But I mean, I would say the one thing that Kiwis are amazing at is moving really quickly over that tough ground, you know, those riverbeds and the rocks, little twinkle toes you've got. And so I would say that was the main thing I probably would have done a bit more of, was go and take myself on some rough and rocky ground over here in the UK.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. We've got Matt and Tomo we want to talk to in a moment. And having completed the Tandem Team event, and them also lining up for it as well, their first crack, any advice that you'd give them?
Oh, on the kayak section, I'll give the advice that my teammate Holly gave to me, which is pedal, pedal, pedal. That's all she kept shouting at me. And so I just trusted her and just like went like a nutter in the back.
Just want somebody from the engine back there. Give me something. Are you pedaling?
That was it. She was just like, whoa, I can feel you kick in. So I just whoever's steering, I just trusted them. I was just like, my job is to paddle, and that is it. And so I would say that one. And the other thing is definitely treat it like a team. There's just something amazing, even though you're separate on the bike and on the run, that kind of constant talking and where are you? And
how you doing?
you carry one another along. It's just a beautiful thing. It's amazing to share it with someone else.
Cool. Brilliant. Fantastic. Where to next, Anna? What are you off to now? Where your journey of adventures?
Well, I've got 7 months worth of baby in my belly. So apparently that is a huge adventure. So there is a human arriving in my life. I've got a little girl coming in December.
Right. Cool. Not far away.
So I know. So basically it'll be about, getting the baby out and then working out how we drag her up some mountains and take her on some adventures.
Yeah. That's awesome. And to summarize coast to coast, so any other sort of key things that you would share with others, just in terms of, okay, we're doing this for the first time, anything else to share?
Oh, just enjoy it, because there are so many unknowns. And, as I said in my race, so many things went wrong. It doesn't always go to plan, but I would say plan as much as you can. And then on that start line, just embrace the nerves and just enjoy it. You are in for the time of your life. And it's just the best way to see the country. It's amazing.
Brilliant. Awesome, Anna. Love your energy and love your enthusiasm. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here at some point to spread all that enthusiasm around the place again.
100%. I cannot wait to get back over to you. I reckon it'll be a few years, but I'll be back for sure.
Write that down.
And Anna, just quickly, I just want to quickly tell everybody out there that if they go onto your website, you've actually got some books there that you've written, and I'm just going by the enthusiasm that you're giving us now. And I read the blurbs that they're written from like off the seat of the bike and so I can only guess that these books are going to be an absolute dynamite piece of gold to read. And I need to tell you that in the next week or two, I'm off on a bit of a road trip up to the top of the South Island. So we're busy going to download some audio books of yours and listen to some of your great stories. But thank you so much for joining us, and all the best for the one of world's greatest adventures, which is little ones, and that's the biggest adventure you have. Hopefully what you're saying there is that you actually know what you got coming, and it's not a tandem that's coming.
Yeah, no, there's not a tandem. No, that makes life easier.
yeah, good, brilliant. All right, Anna, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to catching up with you again sometime, and all the best.
Wicked. Take care. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, well done. Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Fizzing. Good.
Fizzing. Look, I mean, if you could start any race with that amount of enthusiasm, Richard, you're nearly at the finish line before you even start, aren't you?
Yeah, no, that as you talked, I'm sure there was plenty of enthusiasm for a start. I'd like to see, I'm sure she still had enthusiasm, even though she probably wasn't feeling brilliant. She's that sort of person, isn't she? Correct.
Now, Rich, we are getting closer. Like we did talk about this at the start. We're getting closer. We've got some more training, some more daylights, all that sort of stuff. So we probably need to just start to get a little bit more specific and with a bit of advice and stuff out there for our listeners and viewers. Perhaps you may recall a little kayaking story for us tonight.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up, Angus. I was told they were soft and I actually need to get on my boat, which has been happening very infrequently recently. I live down by closest to the Waimak, so it's been really windy. So I thought I have to go. So park the car on an angle so I could actually sort of wedge the boat off the car to get it in the water and sort of set it there. I was like, right, let's shimmy in it. And then as I was doing that, I got blown out of my boat and sort of half into the water and things like that. So swearing and cursing about how people are making me getting out there and doing this. But actually the wind dropped and actually turned out to be a really nice paddle. So I just needed to harden up and actually get out and do some paddling. So no, good.
But you do have a job on come Coast to Coast Day, but it sounds like you actually need a little bit more practice.
Yeah, it's always learning, Angus. That's for sure. It's keeping you honest. Actually, I need to keep on making sure I do some paddling. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of learning, we're now going to catch up with Glen Currie, Kathmandu Coast to Coast race director, and he's just going to fill us in on some learning, where we're at, where the event's at, and a few of the trials and tribulations of planning around COVID and all those sort of things. So Got your ears on there, Glenn?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good, mate. Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Glenn,
Have you started the countdown yet?
What's that, sorry?
Have you started the countdown yet?
Yeah, it gets to about an hour and you start, the days seem to disappear pretty quick up to the event from this point forward. So, yep, we are in countdown mode. October is actually a really big month for us in terms of organising. We have all our safety meetings with our mountain crew and our river crew. So we put all those together, and it's actually in terms of it sets us up for the rest of summer, really.
Yeah, Glenn, it's a tough time of the year and tough with everything that's going on to be a race director. How's everything going at your end in regards to this whole COVID thing? I think from my place in terms of helping people out to the event, there's that optimism that we're going to happen and we're going to go and train for it anyway. And hey, it's all going to go well. But how are you getting on?
Yeah, well, it's probably pretty similar to the athletes, actually. So, I mean, last time I think I spoke on here, I was like, yep, we're good to go. It was all in New Zealand was in level 1. We were like, we might not have internationals, but, and then obviously we rolled into part of the country, rolled into level 3, level 2, etc. And all of a sudden the event situation sort of changed. So I think probably the hardest thing for organisers now is the reality that, we could be sitting in Greymouth and get told that we will have to go home because we've flicked the switch to a level 3 situation. So, and I feel we're really fortunate that the Coast to Coast is actually owned by a New Zealand company, and they're very, very supportive. So we're in a great position there, and they're like, we're just going to go give it a good crack, and we just have to just go on, charge ahead, really. So that's the approach we're taking. So
right, that's a great approach to have.
Excited to have the whole country back in level 1 now. So looking positive, and our approach is that we'll give it a good crack, and hopefully we can get it over the line.
What is the coast plan? If it was level 2, do you have a plan? How's that looking?
So the level 2 plan. So I've been working on that over the last month, and I like to call it the return to the 80s event, because I think it's probably going to have a little bit of a feel of the coast to coast in the 80s. So obviously, if we were in level 2, we've got to operate in a situation where we have no groups larger than 100. So basically our planning is based around that. So you could probably imagine, it's going to be a wave situation. We're working on a split camping situation at the moment. Klondike, we've got a couple of pinch points, and that would be registration, Klondike Corner, obviously, areas where we're going to have sort of mass participation. So we've got to be able to split people in those areas. So that's what we're working on at the moment. So the camping situation, etc., could be a little bit different. And I suppose it just means we'd have to remove all the bells and whistles and get back to basics, and which, it could be kind of cool in a way. Like the way I look at it is that it could be, bit of bring your gas cooker and your pasta for dinner on Friday night, because you could be boiling it up for yourself, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you have to maybe wear some 90s, 80s lycra as part of that as well.
I think it should be compulsory. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So we've got that. That's good to kind of prepare for, and Coast to Coast athletes are prepared, and they are sort of roll with it. That's part of what we do. What's the current situation in terms of event entries, the mountain run, wait lists, etc.?
Yeah, so obviously we sold out within weeks this year. A number of those entries, off the top of my head, around 150 were to internationals. So we've gone to our international community and said, look, we think the reality is there's, your chances are getting less and less in terms of getting into the country to do the event. And in the situation that you potentially you may have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine. Now, in terms of the Kathmandu Coast to Coast, it'll be a heck of a taper, but probably in terms of the Kathmandu Coast to Coast for an international, that's the time when they get on the course, etc. So we've basically said, look, we are happy to give you your money back or transfer your entry to 2022. So we've gone out and offered that to those athletes, and most of them have taken up. So that's where we're at. So people probably saw that we reopened our wait list. And the reason is that we basically delved into our current wait list more than we thought we would to fill up those spaces for internationals. So what we are doing now is putting people more, on a new wait list, I suppose. We crunched the numbers over the last 4 or 5 years, and we tend to lose up to about, from this point forward to the event, 13% to 14% of entries that we currently have, and that's just due to injury, etc. So spaces do become available. Mountain run sold out really quick. We hold 50 entries for the mountain run. We've always said that our priority is the multi-sport event, but we do see the mountain run as really important and great feeder to the race. So that's why we hold those entries. But we also have a large wait list there, and mountain run often people come January, etc. There's more people that are probably keen to take up the mountain run option than there is the entire event. So those entries often come around too. So although we only offer 50, we generally have a start line of 100 or so in that area. So yeah, that's where that is. If the situation was that a section of the country was in level 3, we're realistic that we wouldn't be able to run the event. That's basically the bottom line. So there is a policy, and people can see that online in terms of refunds and transfers. So get onto the Coast to Coast page, and you'll see what the situation is there if we had to go that way. So level 2, we're going to try to give it a crack. Level 1, happy days, and that's where we are.
So
Perfect.
in level 2, Glenn, are you saying, is there a chance that we wouldn't have support crews or have to limit
so
the number?
basically one of the requirements, and they will all come out as we get close to the event. We're going to wait and see where we are sort of in January. But you'd have reduced support crews, so you'd be limited in terms of the number of support crew you're allowed. We'd be asking spectators basically to stay away, which would be really sad, but that would basically be the case to keep our numbers low. Couple other things is, and we're going to put a few things in place anyway, just in case it sets us up so if we had to go there. So registration this year, and this is probably an important one for people to start thinking about. For us to host the event, we're going to have you will receive a designated time on the Thursday for registration, and you will need to come down and register at that time. And that just means that we can manage those numbers in the registration process. So that will start, that'll be all day Thursday. So people will have to be prepped in terms of what their time is, that they potentially will have to be in Greymouth early on that Thursday. What is a couple other things? So so those are sort of some of the major things that would probably come out, I suppose.
Brilliant. And Glenn, in terms of building up for their race, there's lots of different, like now that we're back in level 1, there's lots of different events going on, which is brilliant for communities and people getting out there and testing themselves and challenging themselves. You're also involved in Mission Mount Summers, is that correct?
Yeah, Mission Mount Summers is a bit of a project a couple of my friends and I had a few years ago. I trained around Mount Summers a lot when I was running and when I was racing, and I always thought, it's a fantastic run and close enough to Christchurch, etc. It's an exceptional run. I think the 21K is sort of the perfect sort of event in terms of goat pass training. So we're hosting that in late October. And we've also introduced this year a duathlon, which starts with a mountain bike to run. And I've actually been out and done the course, and I think it's a great sort of simulation, I suppose, for the first day of the 2-day coast. So if anyone's looking for a training event, that will be a great option. It'll be a tough day, and it'd be great prep in terms of that day one of the coast anyway.
What do you think an average time for the duathlon would be for an average punter? How big a day are we talking?
So I mean that half marathon, you're talking average time for that is probably sitting around that 3-hour mark, I suppose. And then I think the mountain bike it's 30 kilometers, but it's relatively quick. There's one decent climb in the middle of it, and I think most people will knock that out in under 2 hours. So you can sort of look at a 4.5 hour for 5 hour days, sort of situation.
Cool.
Brilliant. Good stuff, Glenn. We'll keep you doing what you're doing. Love your work. Well done for, I guess, allowing us the opportunity to keep thinking about and planning for it in level 2, because, I mean, that could happen. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could happen. And keep doing what you do, and hopefully look forward to catching up in October to go for a bit of a mission around Mount Summers.
Yeah, that'd be good. No, we're definitely all fired up, and October's a good time because we get our crew back together. So yeah, we're February focused. So I hope everyone else is, and daylight savings is here. So yeah, get some training in and enjoy it.
Good stuff. Well done, Glenn. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah, cheers.
A big. I know everybody's out there training and everybody's working really, really hard to get to the start line, but a massive job those organisers have got on their hands trying to pull this off for everybody under the conditions that we're facing.
Yes, that's right. And there's a bit of hope there as well, isn't there? But you can be as organised as you can. So hopefully everything goes well. Yeah,
interesting though. Like we talk about level 2 and maybe a reduced support crew and thing. It's actually a good thing to practice anyway. When you're out there and the lead up to this, actually trying to be self-sufficient for on your own, and being able to, after a big run or a paddle or whatever, actually be able to run through your own processes and tick all the boxes that you'd need to do at a transition. I know often at the transition, you'll have your support crew, so you kind of don't have to worry about that. But it's actually a really good practice to go through anyway, and be in tune with being able to make those decisions when you're a bit wary.
That's right. Rather than just throwing everything in the air and hopefully they catch it, deal with it, I actually have to put it in a bag and sort of tidy it up and then away I go. Just takes another moment or two just to do it properly, doesn't it? But actually, it's definitely doable, isn't it?
It is. But just good practice, and especially when we've got we've got Christmas coming up. We've got plenty of packages out there for people to get involved in and get training and learn some stuff and work all those things out with each other. Richard. Yep. Team CP, they've got plenty of activities coming up leading up to Christmas, some group sessions and things.
Yeah, lots of group sessions, lots of availability to get out there, share with others, challenge each other and have some fun. So yeah, there's lots going on at the moment with daylight savings coming around. So absolutely, come out, ride your bike, go for some runs in the hills with us. Get amongst it.
Yeah, totally. Keep an eye on the Team CP website, but also on all our Facebook channels out there. There's always a something popping up and somebody looking for an adventure somewhere.
Absolutely.
Speaking of adventures, there's a couple of people waiting in the wings there who are always good for an adventure. One's been adventuring probably a little bit too much in the lead up here by the looks of it. I'd like to welcome Matt Bateman back, but also the ever elusive Tomo. Welcome, team.
Hi.
Yeah.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, real. Fantastic. Hey, great to be able to catch up with both of you. Angus mentioned it a moment. You may be adventuring a little bit too much. Do you want to talk us through what's happened? How's this affecting your biking and kayaking?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I broke my thumb in my swim for hockey. So I haven't really been able to do much kayaking or getting out on the bike. I'm still lucky that I've been able to do a little bit of running and also just going on the spin bike in the gym.
I can just picture that trip to the doctors and you're in the surgery getting your cast with half a paddle and a set of aero bars, getting them to mold that cast to the two operative things there.
Yeah.
No, it was a bit of a shame, really. We were just halfway through our kayak course with Sam Manson at Top Sport, so we just done our first 2 days, and Tomo broke her hand on the Saturday night, and then we were actually booked to be doing the last 2 days on the Wednesday, Thursday the following week. So we'll sort of had to put everything on hold again now until the end of October, pretty much. So yeah, start of November, we're going to try and hopefully get our last 2 days in. So between now and then, Tomo's just got to strengthen her wrists up, and we'll be ready to go again.
Yeah, good. So she'll be just doing lots of encouragement and cheering on of Matt. Go, Matt. You're doing really well. Good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Train harder, Matt. How did the grade 2 go? How did the first couple of days? How was that? Because that was last time we talked. You were like just about to get into that.
Yeah. I fell out 5 times, 2 days.
Okay.
Had a good couple of
it
was exciting. I think my height and weight doesn't help me too much in the boats, but we'll get there. But no, it was good. We loved it, and it was a good experience. And I think we were pretty first to get back out there, but just doing enough, like a few little paddles I've been doing myself now, and Tom has been doing what she can. So she just practices with invisible. Yeah, but no, it was awesome, and we had a real good time. We went out the Waimak on the boats, and it's been good. But we've been getting into the bike prior to that. Obviously, obviously Tomo hurting herself, and lots of runs. So we're getting some good mileage up on our running. Which has been awesome. So I think for us now, we're getting into the warmer months. You guys touched on it earlier. It's just getting into that specific stuff and doing the things that we're not good at, which is like getting out there with the kayaking. And I managed to. I'm not that confident, to be honest, in the boat, but I went out with Sam and had a one-on-one session last week just to get work on a few things that I hadn't had. But I did bail out one good one, Tom, didn't we, on the course?
You definitely did.
And I ended up, and we talked about before. I ended up. Instead of saying paddle, it was the swim, and I made it to the other side, and Tomo was bloody shaking a bit upstream, but it was good. I think it was good to learn and fall out like we did today. Like it was, so we won't do that again, Yeah.
So what, Matt, after going through the first 2 days of the grade 2 and then a one-on-one with Sam, and obviously recognising that the boat is maybe not your strongest point there, what's probably one of the key learning bits that you've taken out of those lessons that are really going to help you and will help somebody else that's new to it?
I think just breaking it down, but not like going rip, shit and bust. You've got to learn, and I think learning, every time you go down to the river, you'll get offered bits of advice from every other multi-sporter or anyone that's out on the boat, which is awesome. It's good to learn from that. And some of those things that you might take in won't be things that will apply to you straight away. But getting a one-on-one session was awesome, and I couldn't probably recommend that enough. I'm going to do another 2 before we go out again, and just to nail things like that, the stroke and the technique with the paddle and things that I was a little bit unsure about, and yeah, I think just for me, just trying to get the little things and just do them well, and break it down, and then go from there. So I just don't want to get any bad habits on, and learn them.
Yeah. And so we got will be another month before we catch up with you two again. So what's this next month hold? What's the focus of between now and November? Yeah,
so I think we're going to do running and cycling will be our biggest thing, and getting fully out on the bike rather than being in the gym. And the last was real tough actually with the coming to the end of winter, because when we spoke last time, Tomo was still thick in the thick of hockey, so we weren't actually getting we're actually out on the road bikes. We were doing lots in the gym. So now we're getting out on the bikes, and then towards the end of the month, doing when Tomo gets to cast off, just trying to strengthen it so we're ready to go. And I think we're going to talking about 3rd and 4th of November, which will probably be actually the days that we're on for our next podcast. So we'll probably be on that. We're doing that in the daytime.
Well, I can't recommend enough the Team CP Wednesday night roadies. Little shameless plug here, 6 p.m. Princess Margaret Hospital. We want to see you two there.
We'll come.
Good, we'll perfect. It's a perfect place to hone those bike skills.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
How did it go tonight? We saw you guys were on there just before, so we were just watching that as well.
Busy. No, good to get out. We had a flat ride today, so it was good to just learn that riding close to others stuff. Really good. And still got my bike shorts on at the moment, actually, while I'm talking to you, as we dashed in here to get changed. And just to summarize, just the last thing Anna talked about in terms of the boat and really enjoying that right at the start of our podcast, and just paddle. I want to know who's going to be in the front of the boat and who's probably going to be in the back of the boat in this thing. Who's going to be steering at the front? Who's going to be the engine at the back?
I think after our first couple of outings in the duo, Tomo is definitely not touching any foot pedals and making it. No, she's not. I tell you, we were going sideways every time we saw a swan. We were going sideways up the river. Or she'd stop. So
it's good to figure these things out right early on, though. Who's in charge, right?
Yeah, we actually had to change halfway down the river.
Okay, so classic. Okay, so Matt falling out plenty hasn't changed that. It's still actually Matt's probably going to be in the front. Lack of ability doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
You've voted for yourself. Well done, Matt. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on.
No worries. We will catch you again, like I say, in a month's time, first Wednesday of the month, and tune in to see how you're getting on.
Well done. Keep up the good work, team, and look after yourself, Tomo. Hopefully that's feeling good and you can get things moving again when that cast comes off.
Hopefully soon.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, they've got an action-packed month coming up, and some, it just goes to show that a little cast on your hand's not going to slow you down from achieving your goal, Richard.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just a matter of figuring out how, just as way as Glenn was saying it, is actually we're still going to do this. We're just going to figure out how. And that's what he's done particularly well, hasn't he, in terms of getting the race organised and some plans in place.
It's right. And I guess that's probably a pretty good summary of the whole evening, really, is the just figure it out. Do it, get out there, get in amongst it, and, find a way to do these things, and all will be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sums up the coast to coast, because things will go wrong. They do go wrong. There's so many things
guaranteed
that are so dynamic within this race, isn't it? In terms of the mountain terrain, the riding with others, the nutrition thing, the paddling down the river, stuff goes wrong no matter how experienced you are. So it's how you deal with it. It's the key challenge.
Absolutely. Well, Rich, that's the end of another great Kathmandu Coast to Coast episode. A big thanks to Anna, Glenn, Matt and Tomo for joining us. Of course, Richard, a big thanks to you and to Team CP for helping put this project together. For everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening or watching. Don't forget, keep an eye on both the Team CP Facebook pages and, of course, the Kathmandu Coast to Coast Facebook pages. If you haven't hit the like button on those pages, get there and do it now. Lots of great Coast to Coast content coming through all the time.
Good. Well done, Angus. Thanks for holding the show together. And until next time.
Always. Thanks, team. See you out there.
It's the best Kiwi event in New Zealand, this.
Crossing New Zealand in 1 or 2 days.
Why do I do it? Because I love it.
3, 2, 1.